Karibuni sana. Tutaanza na wimbo wa taifa. Shikamoo. Please remain upstanding as we will begin with the national anthem of the United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you. May we take our seats? Let's be seated. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Oil and Gas Congress in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, at the Julius Nyerere International Convention Center for the next 2 days. My name is Taji, honored to be running the program of this opening ceremony. We're truly honored to welcome and to host the Honorable Angela Kairuki, Minister of State for Investment, Prime Minister's Office of the United Republic of Tanzania, on behalf of His Excellency, of the Honorable Kassim Majaliwa, the Prime Minister of Tanzania. Mama Angela Kairuki, as our guest of honor, we acknowledge your presence with our hands. It's with great respect I wish to introduce to you His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Ghari Bilal, the former Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Sir, and we also acknowledge your presence. Honorable Dr. Medad Kalemani, the Minister of Energy, the United Republic of Tanzania. It's an honor to have you here with us this morning. Honorable Salama Aboud Talib, Minister of Lands, Housing, Water, and Energy, the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar. Ladies and gentlemen, your hands. His Excellency, Homed Msaidia Ahmed, Minister of Economy, Investments and Energy, Economic Integration, Tourism and Crafts, and also Government Spokesman, Union of Comoros. Your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Irene Babete, Commissioner, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Uganda. On behalf of the Honorable Irene Muloni, namesake, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development of Uganda, welcome. Karibu sana. One of the main organizers, His Excellency Abdul Samad Balozi, Ambassador Abdul Rahim, Chairman, Association of Tanzania Oil and Gas Service Providers. Please, ladies and gentlemen, your hands. The moment has arrived. I also wish to acknowledge, maybe not at the head table, Tiago Marquez, Vice President, Production, CWC Group. Wherever you are, Tiago, may we please put our hands together to a very busy man. If not in the hall, it's understandable. Let's also acknowledge their presence as one of the main organizers. Your Excellencies, government officials, heads of government agencies and parastatals, chief executives from the private sector and associations, our associated sponsors, esteemed Congress delegates, local and foreign press, most welcome. As we are pressed for time, may I please immediately welcome Balozi or Ambassador Abdul Samad Abdul Rahim, the Chairman of the Association of Tanzania Oil and Gas Services Providers, for a forward. Let's put our hands together. Karibu sana.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Lord, Your Excellency, the former President of United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency Dr. Gharib Bilal, Your Excellency Angela Kairuki, Minister of State in the Prime Minister's Office, responsible for investments, currently representing Honorable Minister, Prime Minister of United Republic of Tanzania, Mr. Kassim Majaliwa, Honorable Minister of Energy of United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Medad Kalemani, Honorable Minister of Energy, Water, Environment from Zanzibar, Honorable Salama Abu Talib, Honorable Ministers from Komoro, Uganda, Excellencies and High Commissioners, Regional Commissioners, business communities, distinguished. Of course, I can see our sponsors, our beloved media, ladies and gentlemen, protocol observed. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I begin my welcome speech, allow me to thank and warm welcome His Excellency Angela Kairuki, who is representing the Prime Minister, Kassim Majaliwa. Also, allow me to recognize the President of the former Vice President of United Republic of Tanzania, who has taken all his time from his retired, probably golfing or reading, to come and join us today. Please give him a big applause for His Excellency who joins us today. My belated father always used to tell me, when there is an elderly person next to you, you should always recognize and always ask him to say hello. So if I may, Your Excellency Dr. Gharib Bilal, it will be inappropriate of me to proceed without allowing you to come and say hello to everyone, at least one word. Please take a stage. Thank you.
Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I've been asked to say hello, so I'm saying hello. In the interest of time, that should suffice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to also recognize the presence of the following distinguished VIP and few participants who have traveled all the way from their respective countries to join us today. To start, allow me to recognize the presence of His Excellency Mohammed Sahu Al Suwaidi, Board Director of Abu Dhabi National Energy Company, but also Managing Director of Dotsal. Thank you. Also, to recognize the Madam Irene Batete, representing the Minister of Energy from Uganda. Further due, allow me to recognize the presence of Martin Gavendel, Vice President of Shell from Netherlands. Allow me to recognize Mr. Siverst Vest, Project Director from Equinor. Of course, without forgetting Mr. Ernest Rubondo, Executive Director of Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Thank you. And of course, my beloved brother. I have another brother in Mozambique. That is Dr. Omar Mita, Chairman of Mozambique National Oil Company, ENH. Mr. Rod Branson, Vice President of Capital Projects in the World from Australia, if you're here. Thank you. Mr. John Shepard, Global Director, Resource Infrastructure from United States of America. Thank you. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to stand here before you to welcome you all to the 3rd Tanzania Oil and Gas Congress in Tanzania. I thank each and one of you for finding time within your pressing schedules to be here today. I'm glad to see and recognize many faces of those who were here with us last year. I am equally excited to see many new faces and many new countries who have joined us all over the world with us today. We are more than happy and prepared to be your good host and to ensure that you find your time in Dar es Salaam more memorable and rewarding. For that reason, we have organized a range of activities and networking events as seen in the program, which has been made available online. You will see this year we are promoting technology, so I'm sure you have been briefed of the latest modern technology that you can be able to interact with people directly. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this Congress marks yet another exciting milestone in the journey of our emerging but promising oil and gas sector. Ever since we had our first Congress in 2017, we have recorded success year after year in both content and reach. I am delighted to inform you that this year we have registered more than 592 delegates compared to 421 delegates in 2019 and 319 delegates in 2017. That is a staggering success, and well done to the team. This year, we have delegation from Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, Comoro Island, France, Ghana, Italy, India, Japan, Kenya, Mozambique, Netherlands, Nigeria, Norway, Papua New Guinea, South Africa, Oman, of course, mainland Tanzania, Tunisia, Turkey, Uganda, United Arab Emirates, UK, United States, and of course my hometown, Zanzibar. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before going further, allow me to express my sincere gratitude to His Excellency President John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, the President of United Republic of Tanzania, for his personal unquestionable commitment, and that is of his government to support this Congress and transform the oil and gas sector in Tanzania. We are indebted to Honorable Dr. Medad Kalemani, Minister, and of course, his Permanent Secretary, Dr. Hamisi Mwinyimvua, for his support for this Congress. I've been making a lot of calls, and I've been calling day and night, and here we are today, a very successful event. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is a clear signal of our collaboration, commitment, and trust. Our very special thanks goes to who are currently, and also Joyce Kisamo in the Ministry of Energy for working tirelessly to work with us in putting program together, but equally to Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation Managing Director and his team who are already here for their contribution and support. This Congress is taking place today because of all collaboration. I thank you immensely for the roles well played. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, what makes this third year Congress exciting is the series of For the first time this year, the Congress will host an exclusive first Tanzania Women in Energy Forum. The aim of this forum is to address the gender gap and divided in oil and gas sector and to live up the spirit of inclusiveness and national content. This is an anomaly that needs to be corrected. Our ascent oil and gas sector has an opportunity not to repeat the mistake of the past. We are better placed today to change this narrative, and so we must do this. Another first-time entry this year, as you have seen as you walk into the building, is this SMEs and petty traders who have been gathered from different regions in the country. Also, the award-giving ceremony in recognition of outstanding contribution and impact by players in the oil and gas sectors. For that reason, we have introduced 3 new awards this year, over, above, and existing National University Student Essay Contest Award, which is our second year. These are the International Companies of the Year also. There will be awards to award this company to recognize also the international company with outstanding contribution and impact to the sector in the country. And finally, but not least, the Tanzanian Company of the Year that recognizes the local company that has made a unique contribution to the sector. And lastly, but not least, the National Content Champion Award in recognition of their efforts to advocate for mainstream national content to make sure our sector inclusive and sustainable. Winners, of course, of these will be announced shortly and will be known to you later. Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the theme this year is promoting national content, partnership creation, and capacity building. The choice of these themes resonate well with well-intentioned reforms by the government of Tanzania in the extractive sector in general and oil and gas in particular. As you are all aware, like in any other developing countries, the narrative about the extractive industry, clouded as it is so-called resource curse, is not pleasant, save for our few pockets of isolation success stories here and there. Altogether, such thorny experiences has generated and fueled mistrust, tensions, and in some situations, security challenges. As a result, resources nationalism is on the rise, is on unfair way, paints a picture that extractive industry is all about exploitation, corruption, and extraction. These kind of narrative affects indiscriminately all players irrespective of the individual company's good corporate practices. The success of this year oil and gas, especially in Tanzania, whether the sector is still in nascent stage, depends, among other things, on a change narrative. We must be able to tell and show to the good side of this sector. And this must not be in a form of empty rhetoric, but deeds. People must see, thank you. People must see and be able to tell and show the good side of this sector. And this must not be in the form of empty rhetoric, but deeds. People must also see and feel that this sector of oil and gas is good for them. There is also a better way to achieve this in promoting transparency, dialogue, and national content. That can be achieved if we create a meaningful partnership and build capacity local players efficiently, but also benefit from the value chain. There are also resources that needs to be addressed for the local people. We need, yes, investors to extract and develop them as partners, not as exploiters. It has to be on the better terms, win-win terms. Fortunately, His Excellency, the President John Pombe Magufuli, and his government have shown strong determination to rewrite this narrative of sector and address the underlying challenges. For us, this is an opportunity. We are confident that intention is right, and so is the time. This effort needs to be supported by all of us here. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we meet here today, we are clear of what is needed, which is promoting national content, creation of partnership, build capacities. Issues of capacity and facilitation are critical, but they can't be an excuse for business as usual. There is a role of the government, there is a role of the people, and there's a role for business. And also there's a role for foreign investors and businesses. All have to work together to address the issues of technical, financial capacity, and all other obstacles. The question here is how. In these 2 days, we have found the answer. Luckily, we do not have to reinvent the wheel. Being a latecomer of this sector, Tanzania has an advantage to learn from many successful best practices which have gathered here today, and equally the failures of others. I'm glad to inform you that we have privilege to hear and learn from some of the countries that have shown willingness to share their experiences with us as well as their best practices. I'm proud to mention before that there are these countries who I mentioned earlier who will be providing their experiences and work with us in order to make sure that our people are equipped. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is not my intention to give an opening speech for this Congress. Mine is purely to welcome remarks, but I thought I would touch on those issues which are equally important. More are expected, of course, from our guest speakers and our guests of honor. Protocol, of course, it demands me that I should not steal the mood of the show, but we are all eager to hear from them and thereafter to hear from one another. I once thank you, all of you, who have showed up to here, who have shown your time, and also gratitude should be directed toward our sponsors for making this Congress possible. Before I go, I must thank my team behind the curtains, the Ocean Business Partner team, and also the CWC team that has worked with me tirelessly and care to facilitate this Congress. For all the shortcomings, please blame on me. For all the success and credit, please, it goes to them. They have done an amazing job, and they have deserved, and they are deserving a big applause. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for our distinguished overseas delegate and participants, I urge you to, of course, visit our stands, which I'm sure you will be in the next 2 days, engage local people, forge joint venture, and of course, take advantage to visit our beautiful island of Zanzibar and to visit our remarkable mountain of Kilimanjaro, National Park, and about the culture, and of course, to learn more about Kiswahili. But before I forget, allow me to recognize and introduce the Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade, Honorable Stella Manyanya, and also Deputy Minister of Energy, Mama Subira Mgalo, and equally also to introduce and recognize the presence of the following people who I wanted to leave it last so that you can see the importance of them. First, allow me to introduce our chairman of Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Salum Shamte, the president of TCIA, Tanzania Chamber of Commerce Industry, and also the chairman of GS1, if he's here, Mr. Menye. Ladies and gentlemen, as I finish my speech, and as you all embark on your onward journey from here, please be mindful that after speaking and mentioning all the things that I've mentioned in my speech, I have to say, we have a huge task and obligation ahead of us. But one thing is certain, and the only thing that will unite and drive our success and to achieve these goals is a spirit of yes, we can, yes, we must, and yes, we will. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, will you please put our hands together once again for a very, very warm and very constructive and tone-setting words of welcome. It's my great honor now to cascade the following speakers. We'll begin with the Honorable Salama Aboud Talib, Minister of Lands, Housing, Water and Energy, Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar. Karibu sana.
Honorable Angela Kairuki, Minister of State for Investment, on behalf of His Excellency, the Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, Your Excellency, the former Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Harib Bilali, Honorable Dr. Medad Kalemali, the Minister of Energy, Honorable M. Saidi Ahmed, Minister of Economy, Investment and Energy from the Government of Comoro, all the Deputy Ministers, you are here, Permanent Secretaries, representatives from government, the British High Commission, Commissioner, I heard she's here, distinguished heads of development agencies, invested guests, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good morning, all. It is an honor and a great pleasure today to be here to share this important occasion with you. I thank His Almighty God for His holy blessing, which afford to all of us good health to participate in this memorable occasion with very important mission. Indeed, I feel great honored and privileged to address this remarkable gathering of our government leaders from United Republic of Tanzania and Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, representatives from international oil and gas companies, professionals, university students, and other distinguished invitees to this Congress. Permit me to seize this opportunity and make my declaration that I am sincerely grateful to all those who organized and made this invitation to all of us reach in time, and indeed, my appreciation especially on making me as one of the speakers. Honorable Ministers, distinguished participants, please allow me on behalf of the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar to present before this Congress an overview of the legal and regulatory framework of the oil and gas subsector in Zanzibar. The Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar established the Oil and Gas Policy in 2016 and approved the Oil and Gas Upstream Act in the same year. In 2017, the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar approved the Model Production Sharing Agreement for petroleum upstream operation in Zanzibar. In addition to that, two institutions were established to regulate and commercialize the petroleum operation in Zanzibar, namely Zanzibar Petroleum Regulatory Authority ZPRA, and Zanzibar Petroleum Development Company, ZPDC, respectively. The revolutionary government of Zanzibar is improving its infrastructure development in various aspects to attract the oil and gas investment in Zanzibar. Distinguished participant, the revolutionary government of Zanzibar has opened the exploration operation in Zanzibar in 2018 through a signed production sharing agreement with Iraq Gas Company from United Arab Emirates in Pemba Zanzibar block. We start with Pemba Zanzibar block. Zanzibar is in preparation stage. It is process of opening new frontier areas and deep offshore for further exploration survey. Distinguished participant, the revolutionary government of Zanzibar has announced a bidding ground for acquiring a contractor to undertake the non-exclusive multi-client 2D seismic survey in the deep offshore basin to the eastern area of Zanzibar, comprising of approximately 36,065.48 square kilometers. The survey will involve acquisition of about 4,300 line kilometers of 2D seismic data of long offset over 10 by 10 kilometer grids, bathymetry, gravity, and magnetic data. The revolutionary government of Zanzibar would like to invite the prospective investors to bid into the said tender in the effort of giving hands to Zanzibar government to the process and proceed. Honorable ministers, dear participants, I would like to ensure all the investors in the business that Zanzibar is going to be the best investment opportunity in the region, supported by healthy policies. Hence, feel free to join us. With these few remarks, it is now my pleasure to welcome you all in Zanzibar to invest in this emerging oil and gas sector. I would like to wish you a nice day and constructive engagement through the direction of this meeting. Don't forget to spare your time to visit our island, beautiful island, during this high season of tourism. When we finish tomorrow, the Congress is better coming to our place. You are welcome all. Thank you very much for your attention. Welcome all. Karibuni sana.
Thank you, Honorable Talib. That's the second invitation to Zanzibar. Please pick it up. Your Excellency, distinguished guest of honor, it's now my great honor to welcome to the podium Bibi Irene Babete, Commissioner, Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development, Uganda, as introduced on behalf of the Honorable Irene Moloni, Minister of Energy and Minerals Development of Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, your hands. Karib sana.
Your Excellency, former Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Garib Bilal, Honorable Ministers present, representatives of governments, the British High Commissioner, the private sector, distinguished guests of different development partners, the captains of the industry, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Good morning. It's my pleasure to extend greetings from the Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development of Uganda, Honorable Irene Moloni, who has been unable to make it today due to competing assignments. On her behalf, I would like to thank the government of Tanzania for inviting the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development Uganda to address this esteemed gathering at the 3rd Tanzania Oil and Gas Congress. We do recognize that this annual gathering provides an opportunity to the governments, and especially in this case the government of Uganda, to share with the different counterparts in government and the private sector the status of the development of the petroleum industry of Uganda. It additionally provides an avenue for learning from the experience of the different players in the industry on how they are developing their respective sectors and businesses. It is therefore my pleasure to address you and share some of the achievements/efforts that have been registered, the opportunities available, and ongoing developments that we continue to undertake in developing the petroleum industry of Uganda. Uganda continues to make significant strides in preparing to commercialize the available petroleum resources, estimated at about 6.5 billion barrels of stock tank oil initially in place, and with an estimated 1.4 billion barrels recoverable. The government of Uganda is additionally exploring for additional crude oil to ensure the sustainability of the sector. It's important to note that Uganda alone currently consumes about 36,000 barrels per day of petroleum products, whereas the entire East African region is consuming about 200,000 barrels per day of petroleum products, and this consumption is growing at an average of 7% per annum. The entire East African region continues to import all its petroleum products from Singapore and the Arabian Gulf, and this poses an issue of security of supply. It is therefore imperative that these growing markets in the region benefit from the discovered oil and gas resources, and this should be in terms of value addition to ensure the security of supply of petroleum products. So as a country, Uganda, we have undertaken a number of efforts to advance the development of the petroleum industry. So following the discovery of commercial oil and gas resources in Uganda, the government has put in place a robust legal, regulatory, and institutional framework that is supported by a national oil and gas policy. The legal and regulatory framework broadly addresses issues of revenue management, national content, health, safety, and environment, among others. A clear commercialization plan was agreed between the government of Uganda and the oil companies, that's Total, Tullow, and Sinok, whereby in the medium term, a 60,000 barrels per day refinery and a crude oil export pipeline will be developed. In the long term, depending on the establishment of additional crude oil resources, the plan is to expand the oil refinery to meet the growing regional demand for petroleum products. It's important to highlight that there's also been effort to put in place an appropriate institutional framework, and within less than 5 years from their inauguration, the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, responsible for regulating the sector, is fully set up and playing a very active role in ensuring compliance in the industry. In addition, the Uganda National Oil Company, that is the commercial arm of government in the different ventures, is now operational. The progress of the development of the Kingfisher and Tilenga projects in the Albertine Graben to produce 230,000 barrels per day confirms the strides the country is making in commercializing its oil and gas resources. In this regard, it's important to note that the upstream oil companies have made significant progress in taking forward the technical aspects of the projects, specifically the front-end engineering designs for the projects that have been completed, and the environmental and social impact studies, land acquisition, geotechnical and geophysical surveys that are ongoing or nearing completion. In addition, a number of agreements are being negotiated between the government and the oil companies, and key among these is the host government agreement for the East African crude oil pipeline that will run from Hoima in Uganda to Tanga in Tanzania. Regarding the East African crude oil pipeline project, the government is working closely with our counterpart, the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, to ensure that we finalize the harmonization process for the host government agreement to aid the project to continue developing. The government, in regard to value addition, entered a project framework agreement with the Albertine Graben Refinery Consortium to develop a 60,000 barrels per day refinery in Hoima, together with a refined products pipeline that will run from the refinery location to a storage and distribution terminal near Kampala. In order to ensure the sustainability of the oil and gas industry and also ensure reserve replacement, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is currently conducting the second licensing round, in which 5 blocks in the Albertine Graben have been put up for bidding. For investors interested in participating in this round of licensing, the details are available on our website. The ministry has also intensified efforts to open up additional basins for exploration, such as Morotoka Dam Basin in northeastern Uganda, close to Turkana area in Kenya. This basin is promising, having encountered an oil seepage which confirms a working petroleum system. Moving on to the additional efforts that the government has done to ensure the development of the sector, at the issuance of the production licenses in 2016, government and the upstream companies agreed to several milestones to achieve the final investment decision for the projects, and this included identification of key areas that needed action to drive us to FID and first oil. The government committed to upgrade the identified roads and facilitate grant of certifications and approvals, among others. It's key to inform you that the government is now developing the necessary supporting infrastructure that includes an international airport that's being constructed to support the oil industry near the oil wells. But in addition, the government has invested more than $1 billion United States dollars to construct/tarmac more than 700 kilometers of roads to support the oil and gas sector, among others. The above attests to government's commitment to facilitate taking of the final investment decision by the upstream oil companies, and that these projects will give a reasonable return on investment. This should be achieved while maintaining intergenerational value and in line with the legal framework. We do have ongoing developments in the sector where we've been working towards attaining the final investment decision. And as today, the final investment decision for the upstream and the eco projects is pending the finalization of the legal and commercial agreements. The government, together with the oil companies, are working towards achieving this very important milestone. The recent developments in Uganda's oil and gas sector might have created some level of anxiety among the public, both home and away. This regards to the event where Talo's sale and purchase agreement for the farm down to Total and CNOOC expired, and consequently we saw Total suspending activities on the East African crude oil pipeline. As a government, we do recognize the impact of these occurrences, and we are working with the oil companies to resolve the outstanding issues to ensure that there is amicable settlement of those issues. The government is committed and will continue to engage and support the oil companies to ensure they resume work on the ECOP and continue with the activities on all the projects together with all stakeholders to ensure that optimal and lasting solutions to address the bottlenecks are found. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I would like to emphasize that the enactment of relevant laws, the establishment of the institutional framework, development of the oil refinery, the crude oil pipeline, the airport and infrastructure provides an opportunity to various businesses, and this really points to the fact that the oil and gas industry of Uganda has been de-risked and it is a suitable investment destination. The second licensing round for 5 blocks in the Albertine Graben presents an opportunity for interested investors to participate in the development of Uganda's oil and gas sector. I would like to reiterate government's commitment to facilitate the process of the development of the projects to ensure a sustainable oil and gas sector that creates value for the country and ensures that the people of Uganda will benefit sustainably from this resource, while also the private sector attains a reasonable return on investment on the different projects. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I want to thank you for listening to me. Asanteni sana.
We thank you very much for your speech, in a sense, remarks. I think it's something that we've been waiting for anxiously to hear. I hope you're here with us for 2 days. We'd love to continue networking with you. And by the way, in Swahili, it's called nakupaka mgongo mafuta. So I'm oiling your back a little bit, massaging you, because I've been mentioning your name wrong. So I had to go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all your accounts to really, truly check. And if anybody was listening, may I please correct the name to Pauline, which you don't really use, Irene Batebe. Is that correct? Thank you for being very humble as I was calling you the different name, or I was giving you a cousin's name from some part of Tanzania. Karibu sana, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish now to welcome the Honorable Dr. Ahmed Kalemani, Minister of Energy, United Republic of Tanzania. And sir, may I please request that you continue by inviting a guest of honor to speak after you. Ladies and gentlemen, our hands please to the Honorable Minister.
I don't know which language to use. I'm seeing I could see half of the Congress also being black as me, assuming that most of them are locals. But again, this is an important Congress, internationally organized, which I deem to also to use an international language. But again, I'm getting a little bit confused because most of the participants who are not in this room, to the great extent, are also locals. And we are going to discuss about local issues. So you will allow me, as the case may determine, where I find it difficult to use English, I'll go into a local language. When I found it simple, then I could proceed with English. And as the case may be, if Swahili also becomes difficult, I would switch to a third language, a Sukuma language. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, mwakilishi wa Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi Waziri Mkuu wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Mheshimiwa Kairuki, Mheshimiwa Makamu wa Rais mstaafu, Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Nishati wa Serikali ya Mapinduzi Zanzibar, Mheshimiwa Waziri wa Nishati kutoka Serikali ya Watu wa Komoro, Mheshimiwa mwakilishi na mtaalamu wetu wa Waziri wa Nishati kutoka Jamhuri ya Watu wa Uganda, dada yetu Aileen, balozi wa heshima kaka yangu Abdu, na mwezeshaji wa kongamano hili, waheshimiwa mabalozi mlioko humu, waheshimiwa wabunge, waheshimiwa wakuu wa wilaya kwa niaba ya mkuu wa mkoa wa Dar es Salaam na wakuu wa mikoa wengine, katibu mkuu wa Wizara ya Nishati, bila kumsahau Mheshimiwa naibu waziri wangu, naomba asimame muone, Mheshimiwa Subila Hamisi Mgaru, Mheshimiwa naibu waziri wa viwanda na biashara, kwa niaba ya Mheshimiwa waziri wa viwanda na biashara, naomba usimame tena Mheshimiwa naibu waziri wa kuone, Engineer Stella Manyanya, lakini kiongozi mkuu na rais wa TPS, natambua sana mzee Shamte, wageni waalikwa kutoka sehemu mbalimbali za duniani. Kuna watu wametoka Marekani, kutoka Uingereza, kutoka Australia, kutoka Kenya, kutoka Mozambique na sehemu nyingine, makampuni ya uwekezaji katika sekta ya gesi na mafuta hapa nchini na kutoka sehemu mbalimbali duniani, viongozi wa taasisi za serikali kutoka Serikali ya Mapinduzi Zanzibar na Serikali ya Muungano wa Tanzania, wafanyabiashara, wawekezaji kwenye sekta hizi, mabibi na mabwana, waandishi wa habari, assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been greatly honored just to welcome and invite the guest of honor to address this important Congress. But I think before inviting her, I think I should at least say one or two things before I take this opportunity to invite her to address the Congress. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Tanzania, and on my behalf as a Minister for Energy responsible for administration of the sector, I greatly feel very much honored to appear before you this morning to appreciate the attendance of this big event in our country and being the third big participation for the last 2 years. I thank you very much for your attendance. Again, allow me to invite you all, especially for those who have come from various areas in the continent, but also from different areas in the world, to take the opportunities of being in Tanzania today and tomorrow. You will appreciate that you are being here, obviously, at the end of the event, will contribute significantly, not only to the investment of oil and gas in Tanzania, but I hope will create very big opportunities of partnership between the government of Tanzania and the private sectors in the sector. So it's my appeal that we use this opportunity, especially for 2 days, to digest what is important for us, we participants and stakeholders to the sector, especially for promotion of investment in the oil and gas. I listened very attentively when the facilitator was providing his key speech, especially during the theme emphasized of this particular event. If I got it correctly, it is trying to emphasize the involvement of the local partnership or the local content on the oil and gas investment. And to try also to underscore the strengthening capacity of participation between the private sector and the public sector. And later I touched a little bit about capacity building. Now, if this being the theme of this particular Congress, it is my hope and my belief that the participants who are here today, among other things, you will discuss substantially on how we can promote this particular normal sector, which is a very key and critical path for industrialization, especially in our country. Now, having said so, I should therefore start by appreciating and take much recognition of the effort done by His Excellency, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli, for setting up a clear image and a clear climate that is intended to foster and make growth and utilization of the natural gas to ensure that the level of economy in our country is uplifted from lower income of its people to a middle income. So I should think that we clap hands with the President Magufuli for taking that particular initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not intending to monopolize the speech of the guest of honor, but I think before inviting him either, I think I should a little bit portray the development of this sector, especially for purpose of trying to create a clear picture and the tremendous opportunities which are prospectors and which actually are intended to make sure that if they are properly used, they will create a clear image, but also foster and improve the economy of our people. Let me begin by historical background a little bit, if I can take your time. The exploration of oil and gas in Tanzania started a long time ago, even before independence. It started in the early 1950s. And the great part of the exploration activities in our country took place in the southern part of Tanzania and along the coast region. We never discovered any, either gas or petroleum, until 1974, just a few years after the establishment of TBDC. Now you can see how long it takes to discover gas or oil. Now in 1974, Songo made some discovery. And the first people to say, or P group, or P companies which participated in exploration were primarily Shell. I think Shell are also part of this particular Congress. I would think to appreciate that we can grab their hands for being done a good job. So they are the one to participate during the exploration. BP also joined them, and the later AGIP. Those were the major three groups or companies that took the lead for exploration activities before independence. But the discovery came in 1974 at the Songo Block. Later, the second discovery took place in Mnazi Bay in 1982. I just want to portray a little bit the background so that one could trace where we began and where we are. But the first drop of gas came in 2004 through Pan-African pipeline in joint partnership with the government of Tanzania. I think I should also grab them hands for giving them support. That was the first drop of gas came in. And I guess it was less than 10 megawatts either for power generation. Still, we have several opportunities unutilized. So as we speak now, we discovered natural gas at a tune of 57.54 trillion cubic feet. We have not discovered oil. But we are in the process and in the initiative also to discover oil. We are working very closely with our neighbors, the technical team from Uganda. I thank you very much, Irene Moroni, the Minister for Energy in Uganda, represented here by, again, Irene. I hope you not take her seat as a minister in Uganda, for sending their good team to work in collaboration with our technical team in Tanzania through TPDC and the Ministry of Energy. So we're working very substantially and very closely to ensure that we also discover oil. There are potential areas for discovery. Because this is an international meeting, I think I should also address that. There are potential areas that's prosper for discovery. Few of them include the Rift Valley areas. The Rift Valley areas, close to Siwembele. But also areas around Lake Tanganyika. There are potential discoveries in Lake Tanganyika. Lake Lukwa is also very potential for discovery. And also Tanga Brook. So we have some 4 major areas that are prosperous for discovery for oil. So it is our hope and belief that within few years to come, hopefully, hope God will support, we'll be able to discover oil. I thought since we are talking about facilitating and promoting opportunities, I think I should also address those. Again, there are potential areas still for drilling of natural gas. Currently, as I said, we have 57.54 trillion cubic feet discovered, both from the deep sea and the onshore. But there are potential areas that are underway also for further exploration, including, as I said, the West Songo area, Mnazi Bay North, and some other areas in Louvre and then Tori even in Lindi, and some other areas. So we call upon, and I think I should take this opportunity to invite all potential and committed investors to come and invest in the possible, I can say in the possible discoveries of natural gas and oil. There are areas which are currently underway also for possible discovery of natural gas. One of them is being worked very hard with the partners to this Congress, I think, in Intoria, where we think and we are about to discover about 1.6 trillion cubic feet in Intoria, according to the further drilling and exploration which is underway. But also in Louvre, we hope currently there will be a discovery of 2 trillion cubic feet for natural gas as well. And in the western Songo, some 1.3 trillion cubic feet is likely also to be discovered. Deep drilling is underway, also in Mnazi Bay. So there is a possible new discovery of 5.2 trillion cubic feet to add on the 57.54 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. So recently, we will be able to reach more than 60-something trillion cubic feet. Why don't we grab hands with the government of Tanzania? So these are the opportunities I should explain before you. And I've mentioned some other further prospect areas for exploration which are still underway. The deep sea also activities are still encouraging to discover more natural gas. So briefly, I'm not technical, but I said it's better I use this opportunity to encourage you all from abroad, from within, to take the advantage of using the potentials that we have in natural gas and oil. What do we have now in the pipeline? Currently, the natural gas which is on the surface already for consumption is about 2 trillion cubic feet. And we use, since 2004 up to date, we have used only 0.5 trillion cubic feet. So the rest remains and is awaiting for your consumption. So please welcome to use it. Please welcome. We have potential, great potential. They already discovered natural gas. Now, what is the use currently of natural gas? Currently, we use more than 50% of power generation through natural gas availability. We have a total of megawatt 1,601.9 total installed capacity in the national grid currently. 884 megawatts, which is generated and connected to the national grid, is generated from natural gas. And the rest, which is 42%, is generated from hydro. The Mtela, the Kidatu, the Kihansi, and the rest. And almost 2% by other mixed energy. So you can see the contribution and the use of natural gas in the government economy. Very huge as we speak. For power generation. And we said in the natural power master plan utilization that by 2030, at least we'll use 8.8 trillion cubic feet for power generation arising from natural gas. So we distributed how we use this 57 something. So 8.8% of that total will be used for power generation. And the 4.63% will be used for petrochemical factories and other factories related to that. And the 3.6% will be used for industries consumption. And we retained 1.2% of the entire total I mentioned for households and the use in the vehicles connection. To run vehicles or cars instead of petrol and diesel. And 1.1% for iron industries. And we dedicated 10 million tons of natural gas to be used for LNG project, which is coming recently. So you can see how natural gas, which is very important, and to the great part is also awaiting for your potential investment, provided that you are committed for investment. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not intending to take much of your time, but I just want to take the opportunity of you being here and taking into account the seriousness of this important Congress. And I believe it's very rare, Honorable Abdul, to meet with these important people in an important Congress like this. Sometimes we don't have time, so I better chew everything I know in front of you for you to take up. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the importance of gas in our country? I said for power generation, fine. But again, it's going to be used for households, for cooking and running the household affairs, for motor vehicles, but also for big projects like LNG. But the outcome, of course, it will contribute significantly to the government GDP. The natural gas contribution to the national GDP for last year increased to 2% from 0.9% in 2015. So it has a very big participation even in our national economy. But also it will reduce expenditures to users, especially in the households. We have connected more than 300 people currently, especially in Dar es Salaam and Mtwara, and we're going to connect other people in Lindi and some other areas. So those people will enjoy because it reduces some expenditures for at least 40% of the normal expenditure. So to improve the human's livelihood. But also, in terms of health, it's more healthier using gas than charcoal and wood. To the great extent, and the more important, it is very important for environmental protection. We encourage to use more gas to protect the environment. It's even more risky not using natural gas because you degrade more land by people cutting trees and using charcoal and wood. Currently, in Dar es Salaam only, more than 500 tons of charcoal are imported every year in Dar es Salaam for householders, charcoal and wood. And more than 71% in the villages use wood and charcoal. And more than 150 acres are cut every year for charcoal and wood production, just for household use. And you cannot take away that if you don't have an alternative. So the best way to protect the environment, primarily for now, is to use natural gas. I was trying to emphasize the importance. Just to leave some specific time for the guest of honor to speak. I would wish to monopolize this chance up to evening, explaining the importance of this particular Congress. But my hands are tied up because of the guest of honor being present. Ladies and gentlemen, our being here today, for us, is an assumption of curing some of the investment problems in Tanzania. Our motto as government, one, is to ensure that we strengthen the relationship between the private sector to promote this sector. I hope Honorable Shamte will agree with this particular agenda. That is the motto. Thank you so much. But our motto, among other things, is to ensure that we also involve locals to most of local facilities and the local services so that they get use of the rare resources that is available. But also to attract more investment from potential and the committed investor to come and invest, both in natural gas, but also in oil. But also to establish some factories and industries in Tanzania. Establishing factories and industries will also create jobs to our people, but also will enhance the government economy. We believe you pay taxes and so forth, but also you will make some of the villages and cities to grow. So in a way, this particular forum, on behalf of the government, would rather be encouraged to be taking place as the case may be at least 2 in a year. Not once in a year, at least twice or 2 times in a year. So that we can digest more issues related to investment. Ladies and gentlemen, there are projects which are taking place. I think I should not go without talking the LNG program. I thank Shell and Equinor and their counterparts, stakeholders, who are working in hands with the government to implement a very mega project, a rare investment LNG program in Tanzania. We are progressing very well with Shell, Equinor, with their counterparts to make sure that we develop LNG in our country. We understand it's a very huge investment. more than 30 billion US dollar going to be committed. Such dedication and commitment cannot be taken for granted. So we take much serious such kind of relationship and cooperation between private sectors and the government to make sure they promote such big investment in Tanzania, which will create more jobs and raise the economy of the country. I would also wish to take note the good relationship and cooperation between the government of Tanzania and the government of Uganda. Please, Eileen, take our sincere greetings to His Excellency, the President of Uganda, but via the Minister for Uganda, Honorable Eileen. We greatly thank you very much for working together on the very important and the big investment, the ECOP program. We intend also to enjoy from your oil you discovered. Without your innocence, that could be made. So we should thank the His Excellency Rais Magufuli and His Excellency Rais Museveni for agreeing to pass over the oil into the land of Tanzania. So we thank you so much. Again, there are still opportunities for that. The progress underway. She pointed us very well, very clearly, and I want to repeat. What is important is that you take note that we are geared to work together to ensure that these two big projects are fully implemented and completed in due course. Ladies and gentlemen, mimi ningependa sana nimalizie na maneno yafuatayo. Maana nimeongea sana nje ya Tanzania hapa. Napenda niwashukuru sana kwa niaba ya wizara. Nimshukuru sana Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi kwa kukubali mwaliko wetu na kuacha majukumu yako Mheshimiwa Waziri ya kitaifa na ya kiserikali kuja kuungana na sisi. Tunakushukuru sana, tunaomba tumpigie makofi Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi. Mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi, kwa niaba ya serikali kupitia wizara yetu ya nishati, napenda niwapongeze sana washirika walioshiriki katika kuandaa kongamano hili wakiongozwa na balozi wa heshima Abdurrahim kwa umahiri waliofanya. Hongereni sana na Mungu awabariki sana. Lakini nimshukuru sana Makamu wa Rais mstaafu kwa uwepo wako. Una majukumu mengi, lakini umekubali mwaliko wetu kuja kujumuika na sisi. Asante sana, tunakushukuru sana. Bado tunawahitaji sana viongozi wetu waandamizi katika makongamano kama haya. Tunakushukuru sana na Mungu akubariki sana. Lakini washukuru waheshimiwa mawaziri wote waliotoka ndani na nje ya nchi yetu kushiriki katika kongamano hili baada ya mwaliko wetu. Na kwa heshima ya pekee niwashukuru wote mlioshiriki na kuja hapa kutoka kote mlikotoka bila kujali gharama na mambo mengine kuja kuungana na sisi kupitia mialiko yetu kushiriki katika kongamano hili muhimu. Tunawashukuru sana wawekezaji wote wenye mikataba PSAs, wenye leseni za gesi na kadhalika, unaoendelea kufanya biashara, unaoendelea kufanya shughuli za utafiti na utafutaji, lakini na uendelezaji wa rasilimali ya gesi na mafuta tunayo hapa nchini. Tunawaomba tuwatie moyo, bado serikali iko pamoja na ninyi. Mazingira ya uwekezaji hapa nchini kwetu, nataka niwahakikishie, bado ni rafiki. Mfumo wa kisheria ni tabirifu. Mfumo wa kisera unaaminika. Mazingira ya uwekezaji ni rafiki. Kwa naomba nichukue nafasi hii kuendelea kuwaalika kuja kuwekeza kikamilifu, na hasa wenye nia na udhubutu mje kuwekeza Tanzania. Karibuni sana muwekeze Tanzania kwenye rasilimali ya gesi na mafuta. Hebu tupige makofi. Nasikitika sana kwa kutokuwa hapa na vitafsiria leo. Sababu ningeongea Kiswahili wengine wangeweza kuweka kwenye masikio. Rais Museveni alikuwa anashangaa watu wanaweka kitu kwenye masikio. Lakini bado Kiswahili najua hakijaeleweka sehemu nyingi. Nadhani nitumia nafasi hii pia kuendelea kutangaza lugha ya Kiswahili kama lugha ya kutumia kwenye makongamano kama haya kadri inavyopendeza. Ndugu zangu, baada ya kusema hayo, niliomba nifanye jambo moja, mengine nimejiongeza tu, ya kumkaribisha mheshimiwa mgeni rasmi ili aje azungumze na wageni waalikwa katika mkutano muhimu wa 3 wa uwezeshaji, uwekezaji, uvutiaji na ushirikishwaji wa wadau mbalimbali katika sekta ya gesi na mafuta hapa nchini. Baada ya kusema hayo, I would now wish to take this opportunity to invite the guest of honor, Honorable Kairuki, to address this important Congress. Honorable Kairuki, most welcome.
Your Excellency, Dr. Gari Bilal, our former Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Medad Kalemani, the Minister for Energy, Honorable Salama Talib, Minister of Lands, Housing, Water and Energy of the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar, Engineer Stella Manyanya, our Deputy Minister for Industries and Trade, Honorable Subira Mgalu, our Deputy Minister for Energy, His Excellency Humed Ahmed, the Minister of Economy, Investments and Energy, Economic Integration, but also the government spokesperson of the Federal Islamic Republic of Comoros, the representative of the Minister for Energy from Uganda, Ms. Irene Batebe, but also the Commissioner for Energy from Uganda, Honorable Members of Parliament from Tanzania, Dr. Mwenyemvua, our Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy, Principal Secretary for the Ministry of Energy from Kenya, Excellencies, Ambassadors from Kenya, from Britain, France, Egypt, Norway, Nigeria, Palestine, Malawi, Brazil, and Mozambique. Mr. Abdulsamad Abdurrahim, the Acting Chairman of the Association of Tanzania Oil and Gas Service Providers, the Chairperson of the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Salum Shamte, the representative of the Commissioner for Immigration, other government officials present here, distinguished Congress organizers, Congress sponsors, media team, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. I thank Honorable Kalemani and Honorable Salama for a detailed presentation of the potential of the oil and gas sectors in Zanzibar, but also in Tanzania in general. Hence, I'll not take my time to dwell much on this, as they've been well covered. It is with profound pleasure and honor that I join and address you this morning on this auspicious occasion of marking the 3rd Tanzania Oil and Gas Congress. I bring with me the greetings from the Right Honorable Kassim Majaliwa, our Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, who really wanted to attend and officiate this event, but due to other pressing national engagements, he has instructed me to represent him. On the outset, kindly allow me to start by commending the co-organizers of this event, which are the Ocean Business Partners, CWC, the Ministry of Energy, and others organizers for successfully organizing yet another symposium that brings together key actors in this important oil and gas industry. Since its inception, for the past 3 years, these congresses have indeed been a great success in all possible aspects. When this Congress started in previous 2 years, it started with only 100 participants, but today we have seen almost more than 600 participants. So we believe in the years to come, we'll have many, many more participants gathering. It is my sincere belief that this particular Congress will continue to play a key role in raising awareness and promoting investment in the oil and gas industry in Tanzania. But it is also further to my expectation that the Congress will enable all the key stakeholders to discuss, but also to exchange latest updates and the trends in the oil and gas business in the global market and how they influence the Tanzania market. I'm also told that this Congress has brought together key players in the industry, including local and foreign experts, and thus it is my earnest belief that it will provide a valuable platform for sharing views, experiences, but also the challenges that are facing the industry, but also subsequently proposing a way forward on the future of this industry in Tanzania. In this regard, we are enthusiastic to see how the local Tanzania's stakeholders, particularly the women entrepreneurs, will take on board and will not be left behind in the oil and gas industry agenda. And this goes hand in hand with the UN key principles of no one should be left behind. Ladies and gentlemen, experience has taught us, just for any other lucrative national resources, oil and gas discoveries and exploitation cannot automatically be a blessing for a country when it is not matched with a clear vision, backed up by appropriate policy, legal and institutional framework that guide the entire value chain of the petroleum industry. And it is against this background that we in Tanzania as a country have constantly continued to improve our policy instruments, but also to improve our institutional frameworks so as to not only cater for the development of the industry, but also to enable effective monitoring and regulation. Ladies and gentlemen, our National Energy Policy and the Petroleum Act of both 2015 were formulated and enacted to bridge the gaps and address challenges that had initially existed in the industry. The policy, for instance, clearly emphasizes on the availability, affordability, and reliability of the energy services, since these are the key elements that will facilitate Tanzania to become an industrial nation by the year 2025. The policy is the basis of the many initiatives in the energy sector that underlies the general objectives of the fifth phase government under the able leadership of His Excellency Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, of driving economic development to the local level, and thus ensuring improvement of the welfare and living standards of the Tanzanian people, and especially the poor. It is also worth noting that main elements of our energy policy include developing domestic energy resources in the most cost-effective manner, promote economic energy pricing, improve energy reliability and security, as well as enhancing the energy efficiency. The energy policy also specifically encourages the participation of the private sector throughout the oil and gas value chain. In order to nurture and ensure meaningful participation of our local businesses and Tanzanians in the petroleum industry, the government of Tanzania will continue to guarantee that appropriate mechanisms are put in place to enable their effective participation in the country. And some of the measures that have been taken by our government includes the establishment of the thresholds for local participation in each stage of the value chain to ensure that oil and gas companies implement career development programs, but also to demonstrate succession plans for Tanzanians employed in their companies. Not only that, but also the government has instituted measures to ensure that Tanzanians develop the necessary capacity to manage and operate in the oil and gas industry. And it is with such deliberate measures, which include facilitating the private sector to acquire technical skills that are required in the petroleum industry and requiring petroleum and services companies to employ and develop local personnel to managerial positions as one way to develop their skills, but also to enable the transfer of technologies to Tanzanians. Ladies and gentlemen, may I also use this opportunity to reiterate the government's commitment to increase the number of Tanzanians employed in the petroleum value chain by continuing to collaborate with petroleum and service companies in ensuring the implementation of approved employment plans that, among other things, require companies in the petroleum industry to make preference for Tanzanians during recruitment, to ensure local training institutions impart necessary skills and knowledge of petroleum to Tanzanians, but also to ensure that certain identified employment cadres are reserved for Tanzanians only. I'd also like to use this opportunity to urge the petroleum and service companies to continue to working closely with the government in this endeavor, because we believe that it is a sure way of getting as many Tanzanians as possible to participate in managing the resources that are endowed in our country. We, as the government, will continue to facilitate Tanzanian private sector to establish maintenance service centers, but also to strengthen local capacity in fabrication and manufacturing inside the country. It is our goal also to see multinational companies to come and invest in Tanzania, and preferably to establish partnership with Tanzanians in setting up petroleum services centers and fabrication, manufacturing, and maintenance services here in the country. When we talk of empowering Tanzanians to participate fully in the oil and gas industries, it would be amiss if one would not emphasize on the importance of empowering women to properly participate in this industry. Although historically women have comprised of a portion of the talent pool that makes up the oil and gas industry, it is undeniable that men continue to occupy specific key roles within the sector. Current statistics indicate that women comprise only 22% of the total workforce in the oil and gas industry globally. Nonetheless, given the fact that women have a proven track record of being able to deliver excellence in all sectors when given an equal chance, I would also like to urge all stakeholders through this Congress to reconsider relevant notions related to working conditions that have hindered women's prosperity in this industry. I am also delighted to note that this Congress hosts an exclusive first Tanzania Women in Energy Forum. This is a very positive gesture that things about to change, and I sincerely congratulate you. Both the government and the private sector in this industry have the responsibility of pushing forward this change agenda. Kindly allow me to propose few ways of sowing the seed of change in this area, which are organizing training and capacity strengthening programs that are specifically tailored for women, but also closely working with learning institutions to identify and groom women workers and leaders in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, according to our Tanzania Development Vision of 2025, which envisions our country as a middle-income country by the year 2025, this vision can simply be interpreted by a high level of human development, with the majority of the people having a middle income and a decent source of income. Our government recognizes the importance of the private sector in making this vision a reality, and thus it has embarked on a mission to create an enabling environment for businesses to operate. We as the government sincerely believe in the involvement of the private sector in tackling various challenges, particularly those pertaining to the oil and gas industry. And it is in this regard that our government has introduced the blueprint for regulatory reforms that is geared towards improving the business environment in Tanzania. The blueprint has put in place a framework for addressing regulatory hurdles and creates a smart, functional, and fair business and investment regulatory regime in the country. And to ensure successful implementation of the framework, the government calls for private sector collaboration in its implementation. We are committed to tackling the challenges facing investors so as to make Tanzania the #1 investment destination hub in Africa, but also the best investment destination in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania investment climate for oil and gas ventures is conducive, and the government has also put in place attractive policies which are predictable, but also favorable legal and institutional framework and favorable fiscal regime to prudently drive and manage the industry. In addition, our economic stability and peace, but also has prevailed in the country for several decades. Our geographical location and the market access makes Tanzania a preferred investment destination of choice. For those of you who have come outside Tanzania, we kindly welcome you to choose Tanzania as your preferred destination for investment, but also to explore other investment opportunities that are available in abundance in Tanzania. But also, I would kindly request you to be our investment advocates and ambassadors for promoting Tanzania as an investment destination. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude my remarks, kindly allow me to remind you that Tanzania is endowed with almost more than 64 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas potential, and there's still new discoveries coming up. You'll all agree with me that the thin line that distinguishes these lucrative natural resources from being a curse, as we have seen in some countries, lies in its management. I thus would like to urge every participant in this forum to focus on putting forward a positive dialogue that will ensure this wealth is properly managed for the benefit of the current and future Tanzanian generations. The present generation is expected to be vigilant, to learn from the pitfalls of other countries so that our resources do not become a curse to us or to our children and grandchildren. I'd also like to kindly assure you that as the government, we will continue to provide good services and facilitation to our investors and prospective investors. But also it will be amiss of me if I conclude without telling you that we are now in the process of making reviews of investment legislation, which by November will have the new Investment Act, but also we'll have a new investment policy. But the aim is to make sure that we facilitate you, we care for you, and we enjoy your investments in Tanzania. It is therefore my sincere belief that this Congress will enrich participants and provide a platform for sharing experiences, ideas, skills, and knowledge which are vital in managing the petroleum resources in a sustainable way for the betterment of the present and future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore now my singular honor and pleasure to declare the third Tanzania Oil and Gas Congress 2019 officially opened, and I wish you a fruitful deliberations. I thank you, and asanteni sana.
Well, congratulations to all of us. Let's clap once again, resounding, please, around the room. The Congress can now officially get underway. Thank you very much, our guest of honor, Your Excellencies. After the main speech, we're going to welcome four distinguished speakers for very brief remarks. We'll begin with Martin Link, the VP Commercial and New Business Development, Sub-Saharan Africa from Shell, for your brief comments. May I please welcome you up onto the stage right now? And let's put our hands together, please.
Habari sa asabuhi. Ndugu mgeni rasmi, mabibi na mabwana, itifaki imesinga taviwa. Nashukuru kuwa hapa asubuhi hii, natumani tutakuwa na siku nzuri ya majadiliano. Bado naifunza Kiswahili. Natumaini siku zijazo nitaongea vizuri zaidi. Natumani mtaniruhusu sasa niongee Kiingereza. Thank you. Honorable Mr. Kariuki, Honorable Minister Kalemani, Honorable Ministers, former Vice President, Honorable Deputy Ministers, here present, High Commissioner and Ambassadors, Honorable other leaders, protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Shell, I feel privileged to welcome everyone here to the Tanzania Oil and Gas Congress. We are honored to be platinum sponsors of this event. Firstly, I'd like to touch on the most important part of our business, our goal safety culture. At Shell, safety is a core value that drives all of our behaviors and choices. Each day, across the world, we strive to ensure that our people come to work safely and leave safely, to be with their families and friends. Allow me to reflect on a tragic accident earlier this year in Morogoro involving a fuel truck where more than 100 people were killed. It is impossible not to have been touched by this tragedy. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life. I'd like to express my sincere condolences to the families who lost loved ones. I'm aware that many of you in this room travel to Morogoro often, including colleagues from the Ministry of Energy and TPDC. This tragedy is a reminder that we must always prioritize safety in our everyday lives, and particularly when driving. Before I move on to talk about Shell in Tanzania, allow me this opportunity to congratulate TPDC for celebrating its 50th anniversary. On behalf of Shell, congratulations for this great achievement. We look forward to working closely with you for the next 50 years to come. Minister Kalamani already referred to our long history in country. A team of Shell staff arrived in the 1930s, started drilling in the 50s, and to date we have supported more than 30% of all wells drilled in country. Over the past decade, we have, as operators of Block 1 and 4 with our partners Ophir and Pavilion, had a very successful drilling campaign with 22 wells completed, 23 TCF of gas in place discovered, and over $2 billion invested. We recognize Tanzania's ambition to drive responsible industrialization and the role that gas can play in fueling that growth. We are currently working with the government to develop a framework that will govern investment and commercialization of offshore gas. Our goal is to create an environment which provides the stability, the certainty, and the transparency investors require to commit to major capital-intensive projects. We are encouraged by the government's urgency to progress the host government agreement discussions. A successful conclusion to the talks will mean that we can get on with developing the facility that will see more domestic gas made available to Tanzanians and LNG produced for export. The project will create significant value from exporting LNG to premium markets. And this value creation takes place here, in Tanzania, with the majority of economic benefits flowing through to the people and the government of Tanzania. Our focus in Tanzania is to deliver the most cost-efficient LNG project, to be able to compete in the worldwide LNG market. We're continually refining the optimal development concept. This means that our technical teams continue to source the best fit-for-purpose technology and the leanest development concepts. From our experience in LNG projects, we've learned that an integrated project across the full value chain delivers the most efficient and robust outcomes. In particularly in a highly complex deepwater to shore LNG project, such as we have here in Tanzania. In Tanzania, we can replicate innovations and lessons learned from experiences in deepwater and LNG from around the world. For example, we can apply learnings from LNG Canada, a project designed to achieve lower carbon intensity than any LNG project currently in operation around the world. We've made our final investment decision with our partners on this project last year, and both Frederick, who was recently appointed Managing Director and Country Chair of Shell in Tanzania, and I were closely involved. Frederick will talk more about LNG Canada during his presentation tomorrow. Tanzania LNG is an important project in our global LNG development portfolio. The resource base off the shore of Tanzania is of world-class size. According to our detailed technical analysis, the reservoirs are of high quality. The gas has low contaminants and therefore a relatively low CO2 footprint. The project is strategically located on the east coast of Africa and therefore close to the premium markets of Asia. We look forward to working with the government, with TPDC and our partners to make Tanzania LNG a reality and a world-class competitive project. Taking a more global perspective, gas accounts for around half of Shell's production worldwide and is a key part of our strategy to provide more and cleaner energy. Shell has been a pioneer in the LNG market for more than half a century. Today, we have a 22% share of worldwide LNG sales, with total liquefaction portfolio of 13 producing plants. The role we see natural gas playing in the energy transition is significant. As the cleanest burning hydrocarbon, producing a fraction of the air pollution that coal does, gas will continue to be an important energy source for years to come. Our ambition is to remain a world leader in energy, an industry that we expect to keep growing at 4% per year. This will require continuous investment, both in existing and in new projects around the world. Shell plans to spend about $6 to $7 billion per year from 2022 to 2025 just in our integrated gas business. Tanzania has high-quality resources and fits very well within our global portfolio. Successful LNG projects are the result of a strong partnership between the developer, the host government, and the communities we operate in. Companies around the world are working to decrease development costs to make projects more competitive. Therefore, governments and investors must partner to create the right environment to attract large-scale foreign investment for complex large-scale LNG projects. Paid back takes many years. Sustainability and stability are critical. And of course, there needs to be a balance between the strong returns for the resource holder, the host nation, and the rate of return for investors for any project to work. To conclude, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Energy, TPDC, and other government stakeholders for their support and commitment as we seek to find the most competitive and cost-effective way to develop Tanzania LNG project. Thank you as well to the organizers for staging such an important forum for the sector. I'm delighted to be here this morning. I look forward to meeting many of you, and I wish you all a great conference. Kila lakeri, asante sana.
Martin Goverling, thank you very much. Your Excellencies, it's my great honor to welcome Dr. Mete Otoy, the Senior Vice President and Country Manager, Equinor, Tanzania. With your hands, ladies and gentlemen.
Shikamu, His Excellency Dr. Bilal, former Vice President. Honorable Angela Karuki, Minister of State for Investment. Honorable Dr. Kalamani, Minister for Energy. Honorable Salama Abu Talib, Minister of Lands, Water, Energy and Environment, Zanzibar. Honorable Subira Magule, Deputy Minister of Energy. Honorable Stella Manjunari, sorry for the pronunciation, Deputy Minister, Land and Trade. Honorable Ambassador Elisabeth Jacobsen, the Norwegian Ambassador to Tanzania. Senior government officials, fellow sponsors, heads of companies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. Habari za asubuhi. Hamjambo. Salama. Mimi ni Daktari Mete na mimi ni bosi wa Equinor Tanzania. Ninja jifunza Kiswahili. I'm working on it. Okay. So, good morning to everyone. On behalf of my Equinor team, I would like to thank you all for being here and for the opportunity to speak to you today. So, who is Equinor? Equinor is a Norwegian-based energy company with more than 20,000 employees in more than 30 countries. Our head office is in Stavanger in Norway. We are 2/3 owned by the Norwegian state and 1/3 owned by private sector. Equinor are committed to turning natural resources into energy for people and progress for society. And we are also committed to become an energy player in Tanzania. Equinor is a value-driven company, and we want to collaborate with government and communities to responsibly develop oil, gas, and renewables. We started our company in 1972 as Statoil in Norway. The company was formed to lead the development of oil and gas on the Norwegian continental shelf. Since that time, we have taken our learnings from Norway and applied them in countries like Brazil, US, and UK. Many of you have already known, as many of you already know, last year we changed our name from Statoil to Equinor. And with the name change came no changes in ownership. We are the same company. But we have broadened our focus from being an oil and gas company to also include renewable energy. Equinor currently has a growing portfolio of renewable energy with examples of wind projects in the US, UK, and Poland, and solar projects in Brazil and Argentina. We continue to pursue and progress our other opportunities in some countries where we are already present and elsewhere also around the world. Equinor, as an energy company, believes that we have to be part of the solution by actively addressing climate issues. That is why we engage in renewables. That is why we work to replace coal with gas. And that is why we work to develop technology to be able to reduce CO2 emissions from our operations. Equinor is an expression of who we are, where we come from, and what we want to be. Equi, that points to equality and equilibrium. This is how we view people and energy. Nor signals that we are proud of our company's origin. Obviously, that is Norway. In Tanzania, we are the proud operator of Block 2, where we work in partnership with ExxonMobil and license holder Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, TPDC. Block 2 offshore gas field is in a water depth of 2,500 meters, and currently it holds more than 20 trillion cubic feet of gas in place. Over the years, Equinor has done thorough technical work together with TPDC. We are confident that together with our partners, we can take this project forward in a safe manner to contribute to the economic development of Tanzania. Equinor has been the key contributor in developing a successful national oil and gas industry in Norway, and we are eager to take learning to contribute to the industrialization of Tanzania. We are currently working jointly with the government to build the commercial framework for a competitive LNG project, which will consist of an offshore, ultra-deepwater upstream part and an onshore LNG plant. It is important that we build together a stable and predictable framework to meet the ever-changing LNG markets for now and the future lifespan of the project. When this project comes on stream, it will produce for decades. In Equinor, we believe in local content and we believe in gender equality because it is good for business. Yes. We see it as a way of creating shared value. It is important to build skills and capacity in communities where we are having activities. One of our most significant contributions to society in terms of monetary value is our purchase of goods and services. Suppliers also represent a significant part of our indirect economic impact as they create jobs and generate activities beyond our company. Ensuring support to local industries and suppliers without compromising safety, quality, and cost efficiency, that remains a priority to Equinor. During the 2 days of the Congress, some of my colleagues will be sharing with you how Equinor is taking steps in creating shared value in Tanzania. But this is just the beginning. We believe the real value will be created once further investment for the LNG project starts to roll in and there are more activities on the ground. The current phase of building the commercial, fiscal, and legal framework for the project is key in making this game-changing project a reality for Tanzania. We look very much forward to be part of this journey, and I truly hope you will all engage with my Equinor team over these 2 days to discuss the opportunities we are facing. And they are easy to recognize because they all have red scarves or ties. And you know, we are from Norway, so we are a bit modest, but you can see them in the back here. So please engage with them. Thank you for your attention. Asanteni sana.
And we thank you for your remarks. And finally, I wish to welcome onto the stage His Excellency Mohammed Sahou Al-Suaidi, the Managing Director, Dotsal Hydrocarbons. We're dealing with the exploration and production. With your hands, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Your Excellency, the formal Vice President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. To start with, I have the duty to keeping you awake from a break, so please bear with me for a few minutes after a long but a very productive and interesting dialogue by the honorable ministers and our colleagues, the other sponsors. I'd like to welcome everybody to the third Oil and Gas Congress in Tanzania. Coming from the United Arab Emirates, this is home, and I'd like to give a big for the generosity and the welcome that we feel at home whenever we come to Tanzania. Thank you for getting us feeling at home. As you have heard, and I'd like to repeat, this year Congress is focusing on investment opportunities, strategies to boost industrialization and new and oil and gas projects in the region, while promoting local content and the keyword partnership, creation, and capacity building, all processes that will enable Tanzania to build a sustainable future. Obviously, this year focusing on the women in the oil and gas, as said by Her Excellency, is a key issue, and developing the young generation. Again, whatever we do is meant not only for our next generation, but our grandkids. A theme, I've come from Abu Dhabi, from the National Oil Company, so I understand how the government looks at the investors, the international oil companies, how do they come to develop the country, and what are the expectations. Decades ago, I was a young engineer and have gone through a big growth as a young engineer, learning from the international oil companies. Having served for almost 32 years in the gas business, the last 2 years I was in the nuclear industry, I'd like to suggest, Mr. Abdul Samad, maybe we should change it to gas and oil. I'd like to focus on gas being the most sustainable source of energy all over the world. Nuclear, renewable, coal are all part of a big formula. However, gas will remain the base for all the development. So I'm proud to be part of this big Congress. The Dotsal Group, which I represent, we are proud that we're part of trying to assist and help the government of Tanzania in securing gas for the country and possibly export to neighboring countries. Dotsal, if you allow me to introduce Dotsal, is a group or a company that was founded in 1948 in India by the Kalachan family, who is the current chairman and president of the company. And we've worked over 22 countries in Africa, Middle East, Asia, and Europe. Relationship with Tanzania started back in 1972. As an EPC contractor, we participated in the construction of the Tazama crude oil pipeline and the Tipa refinery extension here in Dar es Salaam back in 1972. We at Dotsal are committed to solidifying the partnership with the Ministry of Energy, PURA, TBDC, and all other governmental and private sector stakeholders. Relationships that was started and forged back in 2007 when we signed the production sharing agreement, the PSA, to explore the Rovo block, the onshore Rovo block. We remain committed to implement best oil and gas industry practices. We are bringing a strong team from local Tanzanians, international employees, and people from where I come from, the United Arab Emirates, bringing in the best oil and gas technology, best oil and gas to the Tanzanian government. We are committed to the highest level of health, safety, environment, and social standards, while maintaining the requirement of the regulatory framework under